Hello. So we're starting the stream a couple of minutes early. We'll just wait for people to sort of join in. जो भी लोग join करना चाहते हैं उन्हें join करने के लिए we'll wait and we'll cover everything. There's no time limit on the stream. तो जितने देर तक कोई क्वेश्चन होगा कुछ एड्रेस करना होगा सारा चीज़ हम लोग एड्रेस करेंगे एंड विल टेक द डिस्कशन फर्दर फ्रॉम देयर तो 4:59 हो चुका है 16 लोग अभी करंटली ज्वाइन हो चुके हैं इज व्हाट आई सॉर्ट ऑफ सी आई थिंक मोर पीपल वुड सॉर्ट ऑफ ज्वाइन इन मिक्स रखने की कोशिश करूँगा हिंदी प्लस सॉर्ट ऑफ इंग्लिश तो दोनों पार्टिसिपेंट्स को पता चलेगा 45 प्लस लोग जुड़ चुके हैं अपने साथ 45 प्लस पीपल हैव जॉइंड विद अस एंड सारी चीज़ें कवर करेंगे सो एंड टू एंड सो एनी things that are out there that will sort of cover social media chatter जो हो रहा है बिटवीन के अराउंड and our withdrawals के अराउंड क्या है any token related कोई चीज़ है सारे चीज़ will sort of address and we'll take it further from there. तो आई थिंक 50 से ज़्यादा लोग जुड़ चुके हैं अपने साथ हम लोग एक एक चीज़ कवर करेंगे 69 plus people have sort of joined in ठीक है सो 100 के आसपास लोग ज्वाइन कर चुके हैं एंड विल सॉर्ट ऑफ स्टार्ट फ्रॉम हियर एंड विल सॉर्ट ऑफ स्टार्ट एड्रेसिंग तो मैं पहले तो सोशल मीडिया चैटर जो हुआ है उसको एड्रेस करूंगा सिंस यस्टरडे नाइट आई थिंक दैट हैज सॉर्ट ऑफ हैपेंड कि बीएनएस के कोई एक साल पहले प्लस क्या कुछ फंड्स कॉम्प्रोमाइज हुए थे एंड हाँ अगर हुए थे तो फिर क्या एंड ऑल दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ स्टफ that I'll sort of address. I think a few YouTubers also post certain questions around that. That I'll sort of address. If any YouTuber, any influencer, any entity wants to sort of join in, more than happy to sort of address that and take it live, including Zach XPD जिन्होंने ये अनाउंस किया था ट्वीट किया था जैक एक्सपीडी कल एक ट्वीट पब्लिश किए थे so he is an independent crypto researcher Zach XPD is an independent crypto researcher and he basically claimed around what event had happened more than about 13 months back so with respect to that इन जनरल इन क्रिप्टो राइट या फिर कोई भी चीज देखो राइट मतलब आप गाड़ी चलाना सीखते हो you have minor accidents and you sort of keep learning better from there right same with crypto every single sort of major entity in crypto has gone through these cycles Binance पे आप देख लीजिए Binance में फंड्स कॉम्प्रोमाइज हुए पहले OKX पे हो चुके हैं Huobi पे हो चुके हैं KuCoin पे हो चुके हैं all major sort of exchanges have sort of suffered through that and that's due course of some of these and your security measures sort of keep improving from there this as well with BitBNS there was a small incident that happened and actually वो incident के पहले और कोई चीज हुई थी so we had a lot of throughput on our servers काफी activity हो रही थी from various connections and that's when we had sort of taken the exchange offline for a few minutes to analyze क्या क्या हो रहा था and all that and वहाँ पे we started seeing कि यार कुछ tokens का price इनकरेक्ट आ रहा था, जैसे मैटेक BNB आवे, ये 3 टोकन्स का प्राइस स्पेसिफिकली इनकरेक्ट आ रहा था, एंड बाइंग एंड सेलिंग में डिफरेंस आ रहा था. So this is what sort of had happened on 1st of Feb 2022, and उस point of time पे फिर certain people were trying to sort of withdraw funds, कुछ INR withdrawals वगैरह place हो रहे थे and all. So we started analyzing that data, paused exchange activity around that, and उसके basis पे फिर बाकी actions लेना शुरू किए थे. ठीक है. So during the course of that, we also saw कि एक address पे certain amount of funds have gone from different sort of tokens, and अलग-अलग sort of tokens से हो गए, and that tokens then sort of got converted into Ethereum and then further sort of went to different addresses. So normally speaking, one of the questions that is being raised, this is not an abnormal sort of activity or something. This has happened to multiple exchanges multiple times across the board, including the biggest ones. Binance हो चुका है, OKX हो चुका है, KuCoin हो चुका है, any of these that you sort of consider, some of the largest that have sort of seen this. And what I'm trying to sort of see is कि normally, जैसे I was giving an example, कोई भी चीज़ तुम सीखते हो, ड्राइविंग सीख रहे हो, माइनर कोई ब्रश होता है, कोई एक्सीडेंट होता है, उसके बाद you start sort of improving and all. So a security incident for a crypto exchange is something similar, and you basically tighten your sort of security measures significantly from there. Have checks and balances and other things. Binance का recently 4-5 months back BNB chain पे कुछ compromise हुआ था up to a tune of $500 million USD. उसके पहले हर इसमें some of these sort of things have happened. Solana में wormhole attack हुआ है where 320 million plus got compromised. Versus Polygon में recently एक reorg attack हुआ था a week back or so, जहाँ पे कुछ blocks reorg हो गए थे and all, and certain hacks and all, small hacks have sort of happened there as well. Axie Infinity पे हो चुका है. So this is not sort of like something that changes thing. And this happened over 13 months back. We've sort of continued operating from there. BitBNS आज के डेट में अकेला क्रिप्टो एक्सचेंज है इंडिया में जो क्रिप्टो विड्रॉल्स दे रहा है. मोस्ट अदर एक्सचेंजेस हैव पॉज्ड. सो if you take the other exchanges that are sort of out there, CoinDCX, CoinSwitch, और काफी others में crypto withdrawals से भी restricted है, and BitBNS is the only exchange that gives crypto withdrawals. We've in fact seen exceptionally high amount of withdrawals since Feb 2022, which was last year. क्योंकि उसके बाद TDS implementation हुआ, taxation हुआ, फिर जुलाई से TDS हुआ, उसके बीच में लूना और वो सारे events हुए. उसके बाद like FTX, Three Arrows, a lot of these sort of events happened. And we sort of survived all of that. Our sort of withdrawals sort of worked seamlessly even post that. And it's now working seamlessly as well. आज भी लोगों ने withdraw किया है तो seamlessly work किया है. And we're the only exchange that sort of processes crypto withdrawals in India. Like majority of the other exchanges do not allow crypto withdrawals. So that's one. I'll try and sort of address any specific questions that might be sort of out there that are there right from the AMA, what users are trying to sort of ask for. एक थिंग मैं क्लैरिफाई करना चाहूंगा कि आईएनआर विड्रॉ और क्रिप्टो विड्रॉ अलग चीज है. आईएनआर विड्रॉ बॉटलनेक होने का रीजन ये होता है कि कोई बैंक अकाउंट जिसमें यूजर के फंड्स होते हैं उस पे रेस्ट्रिक्शन आ जाता है बिकॉज कोई स्कैम का केस और समवन डिपॉजिटेड मनी इन दैट बैंक अकाउंट. नॉर्मली ये रेस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं आता है फिनटेक्स में क्योंकि दे यूज अ पेमेंट गेटवे. क्रिप्टो एंटिटीज डू नॉट गेट अ पेमेंट गेटवे. क्रिप्टो एंटिटीज have to rely on taking money directly into their bank account, and जिसके कारण certain other challenges आते हैं जहाँ पे even if the scam is for 5,000 rupees, a few crores would sort of get blocked for that, जो कि बाकी लोगों का पैसा है, that is sort of legitimate money. So that's something that crypto exchanges sort of face, and this is not just with respect to BitBNS, other exchanges have also sort of faced it. एंड उसके कारण बॉटलनेक है. मतलब डिफरेंट एक्सचेंजेस में कुछ बॉटलनेक्स है. वजीरिक्स में विड्रॉल लिमिट वाज अबाउट 1 lakh. Zeppe में withdrawals have sort of gotten bottleneck. So some of these sort of things keep happening, and if you're trying to sort of work along on those sort of lines. वो challenges आपको face करने पड़ते हैं. We have transparently sort of explained that this is what had sort of happened. We sort of put up a Medium post as well, and that had sort of happened. Certain questions that are coming along are also with respect to so INR withdrawals का मैं कर रहा हूँ. So INR withdrawals का मैं फिर से clarify कर देता हूँ कि delay है, and we know that that's not a experience for users. We for the same reason added an option of peer to peer जहाँ पे आपको 1 घंटे के अंदर पेमेंट मिल सकता है. We're also working on enabling sort of additional payment processing like partnerships जहाँ पे within a few minutes you would be able to sort of get it. तो यहाँ पे we are sort of collaborating on that, and we're trying to sort of arrange that flow. We expect that to sort of go live in like in April. So that work is in progress. It would start with small limits for users, but once it would sort of go across further. So thanks Sachin for that. Certain things we are backlogging, जहाँ पे कुछ चीज़ों पे मतलब execute नहीं हो पाई on sort of that timeline. जैसे between a swap के round, तो swap we'd sort of taken live for certain users. This week itself, Monday से live किया है, कुछ users उसे access कर पा रहे हैं. तो BNS swap के through people would be able to sort of trade. BNS Pay to जो app है उसके through people would be sort of able to trade. And swap would be sort of live for all sort of users by the end of this week. So Friday, we expect swap to sort of go live for all sort of users. And that is around swap. I've addressed INR withdraw. So INR withdraw. So at the end of it, मैं पूरा summarize भी करूँगा. And I'll sort of take this across. Someone is asking why BNS tokens are sort of going are showcasing zero. आप अपना wallet address दे दीजिए, वहाँ से वो would sort of get solved. Sumit, in terms of minor withdrawals, October वगैरह के काफी withdrawals process हो चुके हैं. I think sync up with the team, most likely this week, October second week तक सारी चीज clear हो जाएगा. So in terms of proof of reserve, something some people are asking, at sort of clarified this earlier. For proof of reserve, the protocol Antani that we are sort of using, Bitfinex has developed it, जिसमें वो दोनों चीज करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, proof of reserve plus proof of liabilities. So Abby Thomas, Sachin Verma and others, हम लोग ये प्रोटोकॉल यूज करके टोकन्स का प्रूफ ऑफ रिजर्व्स और लायबिलिटी क्रिएट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, जिसके थ्रू आपको दिखेगा कि अलग अलग टोकन्स का क्या प्रूफ ऑफ रिजर्व्स या लायबिलिटीज होगा, एंड यू वुड बी एबल टू सॉर्ट ऑफ clearly see all that across that. So moving along, I'm trying to sort of see Twitter वगैरह पे अगर कोई questions है around this. So Aditya Singh is one of the crypto YouTubers who has sort of asked a few questions, and I'll sort of start answering them one by one, sort of around that. So around main reason for maintenance, Aditya sort of asked on 1st of Feb 2022, पिछले साल का ये question है. So the main reason initially was too many connection requests that started coming to the exchange. So more like a DDoS attack जो होता है, that sort of started happening on the exchange. फिर we started an older instance of our sort of code, जहाँ पे couple of coins का prices started sort of showcasing incorrect क्योंकि उनका factor change हुआ था. BNB, Matic and AOP इन सब में वो हुआ था. So some of the users might be aware around that, and that is sort of out there. And तो उसमें वो मेंटेनेंस पहले उससे हुआ था. फिर we started seeing wallet movements. Certain users were actively sort of withdrawing funds as well quickly क्योंकि pricing का difference आ रहा था across certain coins. Then we paused all exchange operations. All exchange operations include new user onboarding, trading, deposit withdraw, fiat deposit withdraw of crypto on 1st of Feb 2022, and then sequentially sort of enabled them back based on when we started seeing here all things are sort of going fine. Second question is why funds were sort of transferred from this address and then Tornado Cash was sort of used to sort of move it along. I think user cards and other things will sort of address separately. Moving back, so one of the questions is movement of funds. So as I said, like on that particular date, quite a few users are withdrawing funds. One of the users sort of withdrew sort of funds in different sort of capacity now, and someone was also able to sort of take a large amount of funds to an address starting with 0x24, 0x48, which is what is sort of pointed out in the Zach XBT sort of tweet, जहाँ पे वो wallet को access कर पा रहा था, and wallet के through he sort of moved funds across different coins. So that was a small section of what holdings we sort of had across users, and we were already sort of cash flow positive and profitable in terms of our operations in the form of crypto that we sort of held. So exchanges sort of monetize from different flows. जैसे trade fee होता है, trade fee in the form of crypto एक होता है, token sort of listing and all those sort of things. So we're sort of positive with respect to all the sort of liability that is out there, and precisely why we sort of kept crypto withdrawals open. Since then, it's been 13 months. People have withdrawn hundreds of millions worth of crypto over time. Multiple crypto events have sort of happened. Three Arrows, Luna, Celsius, FTX, and all. And we're still sort of operating, and that is sort of out there. So Crypto Hanuman is sort of asking some question. I'm not sure if he wants to join the stream. I'll be more than happy to sort of get him on the stream. Other than this, reason for BNS contract change. So a large amount of tokens for BNS as well were sort of withdrawn during this incident, and precisely why we decided that we'll sort of change the contract. And we got the contract change across all exchanges that are out there. So KuCoin, Hotbit, MXC, and a few other exchanges sort of had BNS that was out there, and we basically got it changed there. Anything else? Surinder, in terms of INR withdrawal, so most people have INR withdrawal related specific questions, and I've sort of clarified that we've sort of INR withdrawals has nothing to do with any sort of security incident. Normally INR withdrawal में bank account bottleneck हो जाता है, वहाँ पे एक restriction लग जाता है, and we're trying to work on enabling instant INR withdrawals that are out there. And most people sort of have questions around that. Crypto withdrawals are normally functioning fully well. Swap related, I've already mentioned it has gone live for a few users and will be sort of taken live. With respect to proof of reserves, I've already mentioned that we are working on a protocol called Antani, जो दोनों चीजें plus proof of liabilities for a specific token based on what sort of fund movements have sort of happened. And we're trying to sort of implement that. With that, we basically think here we'll take a step further in the direction जहाँ पे transparency improves for all sort of people that are out there. That's one. Other than this, what we wanted to sort of cover across is कि जितने भी sort of like activities हुए around crypto in the last 1 year, you can see threads from BitBNS around that, and we've always sort of educated users around. We're the first ones to introduce hardware wallets. There are BitBNS hardware wallets that are out there that are available, and we've been sort of advocating that since 4 years. We also launched decentralized products जहाँ पे custody हमारे पास नहीं रहेगी, decentralized SIP है. Bitdroplet डैप के थ्रू किया है। Bitdroplet में हमारा एक सेंट्रलाइज्ड फ्लो था, we basically introduced a decentralized flow. Uh, so I'm just trying to sort of read all the sort of questions. Crypto India, I think is that the legitimate handle. So yes, Aditya, I think clarified in the stream as well कि दो चीजें हुई थी उस दिन. One is we got a DDoS attack, so too many connections happening. So we spawned an earlier instance of our code जहाँ पे pricing issue था certain tokens में, Matic, Aave or BNB, and some of the users can basically confirm on that. And go eventually we started seeing some certain withdrawal. At the same time, once we sort of started pausing exchange operations to analyze this particular thing, we also saw कि यार एक wallet has sort of gotten compromised or जहाँ से funds were sort of getting withdrawn. Precisely why we took certain actions post that. And since then, we have still been sort of functioning, processing withdrawals. We had higher balance in terms of our reserves, जो कि profit that we sort of made, जिसके through we were able to sort of cover any thing that was sort of out there. And users' crypto withdrawals have never been sort of bottlenecked. वो चल रहा है, अभी भी चल रहा है, and they'll keep sort of functioning. INR withdrawal के around अगर कोई question है, I've tried answering that. And अब ये बात पे आते हैं कि यार मतलब I connected with Zach as well. So this is something I'll sort of request कि यार Zach के साथ if he can sort of work with us on this particular thing to sort of resolve and trace this, that would be interesting. I'll also sort of be willing to work with all the YouTubers that are sort of out there to sort of resolve that. What I'm sort of trying to sort of get to is कि some people are asking कि ये पहले क्यों नहीं users को बताया गया. Users को maintenance वगैरह का डाउन टाइम का बताया गया था, जहाँ पे pricing का issues था in certain set of tokens that we sort of explained. Post that we discovered this, we immediately contacted law enforcement. So we have proper logs and case IDs around this, and the overall stance how do you join the stream like Crypto India? Aditya, I'm not aware like कैसे join कराते हैं. If you can DM me or something, I'll be more than happy to sort of get you on the stream. I'll just so I'll sort of cover that as well. Moving back, so we immediately sort of connected with law enforcement, talked with them, and the overall piece of advice was that you start sort of tracing the wallet movements. We started figuring that out. We even managed to recover funds. So we also have logs around that, and we managed to recover part of funds, and rest of that we've sort of traced. We've identified the KYC of the person that was sort of involved by collaborating with other exchanges. And the overall consensus was जब हम इन्वेस्टिगेशन के किसी डेड एंड पे आते हैं या फिर कंप्लीट हो जाती है इन्वेस्टिगेशन, we basically sort of clearly educate the users about what had sort of transpired. This like sort of news usually sort of also crypto को एक certain direction में it sort of paints, and that's precisely that was the sort of point of advice from the law enforcement department, and we basically sort of paid heed to it. I'm trying to sort of figure out how to sort of get someone involved in the stream. Aditya is out there. Some people are asking around the future of crypto in India. So I'll sort of be sort of clearing that as well. So with respect to crypto in India in general, we don't see a possibility of crypto getting restricted, irrespective of whatever the stance RBI is sort of very vocally communicated. बहुत बार RBI इसके बारे में बोल चुका है, but the overall way the government perceives it is positive. The government wants to sort of regulate crypto and trace the movement of transactions. They've been clear around that because that is something that they see is going to be critical in terms of enforcing certain law actions, enforcing sort of certain activities that are sort of out there. And we and that some of the activity that is expected would be Q3, quarter three of this particular year. We'll see certain regulation framework and guidelines coming around that. Will G20 benefit crypto? Yes. It would sort of clarify certain things around how different nations would take a stance around crypto as a joint stance. It would not keep things in hanging. एंड उसके थ्रू मतलब क्लैरिटी काफ़ी बढ़ जाएगी. That's how sort of things would sort of work. And most of the questions remain around annual withdrawals, and that's something that we are trying to address. As I said, we're working. P2P इंट्रोड्यूस कर दिया तो P2P के थ्रू आपको वो जल्दी मिल सकता है, but we know that P2P is not the best possible sort of option. And वहाँ पे we're working on collaborating with a partner so that withdrawal processing becomes quicker for all sort of users. Is crypto SIP actually beneficial as an investment? Yes, crypto SIP sort of works well over a longer period of time in the major sort of tokens like BTC, ETH, ये सब के लिए crypto SIP is sort of over time given better returns, and उसके basis पे that is sort of worked. Someone is asking around the status of Bitvenus. We had filed a case against Enforcement Directorate, and we got a stay order on Enforcement Directorate sort of action. So that case is visible. You can actually sort of check it. And we had filed it against them, and we had got a stay on that sort of action. Is the fund safe at Bitvenus? We've sort of ensured security as a prime sort of vector, and you learn from certain incidents. Kuch incidents may you sort of seek here. Certain cases may there is scope of improvement, and you start working on from there. And we've sort of done that. Sachin Rati is asking, when exchanges file TDS to tax department, what's the mechanism? Sachin, basically जो users trade करते हैं उनके पैन लिंक्ड ट्रेडिंग वगैरह से, तो उनके पैन स्पेसिफिक ट्रेड वॉल्यूम के हिसाब से जितना टैक्स लाइबिलिटी बनता है TDS के हिसाब से बेस्ड ऑन सेल एंड ऑल, वी बेसिकली सॉर्ट ऑफ फाइल दैट. And so Crypto India, again, I've sort of explained this just a few minutes back कि क्यों हमने पब्लिक नहीं किया. We actually consulted the law enforcement department. If you need, we'll basically sort of also mention the case ID and other things. So you'll be sort of verify that, and they told us that it is not sensible to sort of make it public right now, given the sentiment around crypto, and this is going to dampen it sort of further. So do it when you have sort of clarity that. Achha, okay. We tried figuring out if we can join someone in the stream. So Crypto India was sort of keen. So moving back, I sort of explaining here क्यों हमने नहीं explain किया. There was an advice from the law enforcement department कि यार अभी इसे मत करो unless you reach a dead end in the investigation, या फिर केस सॉल्व हो जाता है मत करो. We've also recovered funds. That is what we sort of clearly also mentioned. So केस ट्रेल है। मैं तो चाहता हूँ कि यार पीपल सॉर्ट ऑफ वर्क विद अस ऑन दिस। जैक एक्सपीडी को दिस इज सम an invitation. I also messaged him. He sort of spoke in the morning, and it was pretty clear. Like at the end of the day, it's the idea is to sort of weed out the bad actors, and we would sort of continue operating. There is no हम लोग मतलब आरबीआई बैन के वक्त नहीं हटे, हम लोग मतलब बाकी कोई चैलेंजेस आए तब भी नहीं हटे। We've seen TDS implementation, other sort of multiple companies have sort of gone down and we've sort of kept operating. We'll keep operating. It might get tougher with certain changes in regulatory infrastructure and all of that. As long as it is legal to sort of run it, we'll sort of keep doing that and keep serving the users. And some people are asking what is on ramp and what are the goals. On ramp is a separate sort of entity. मतलब कोशिश ये है कि यार अगर क्रिप्टो यहाँ से ग्रो करना है एंड इट हैज टू ग्रो फ्रॉम जो भी मार्केट कैप 1 ट्रिलियन है वहाँ से आगे बढ़ना होगा, तो सीमलेस फिएट ऑन रैम्स एंड ऑफ रैम्स होने चाहिए। एक्सचेंजेस के केस में सडन बॉटलनेक्स आते हैं इन सडन ऑफ दीज सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग्स, एंड दैट्स व्हेन वी आर बेसिकली क्रिएटिंग a stripe or a razor pay equivalent from that, and that's what is sort of out there. With respect to instant withdrawals and all, I've sort of clearly sort of mentioned that उस पे वर्क कर रहे हैं। P2P के थ्रू आप उसी टाइम पे विड्रॉ कर सकते हो, एंड अल्टरनेटिवली मतलब उसके अराउंड एक पार्टनर्स के साथ कोलैबोरेट करके इंस्टेंट विड्रॉल्स लाने पे काम हो रहा है। To take Aditya live in this stream is not possible. We tried figuring it out. अगर किसी को पता है कैसे करते हैं, let us know, and we'll sort of go along from there. Swap कब start होगा? Abhay is sort of asking, and Swap would sort of function. मतलब Swap is already live for a few sort of users. Friday तक सारे sort of users के लिए it would sort of go live. So Kashif has sort of joined from returning. Hi Kashif. Kashif is sort of asking his written question. Why was this not announced publicly? मैं इसे दो तीन बार cover कर चुका हूँ, फिर से मैं explain कर देता हूँ. The incident happened on 1st of Feb. We basically connected with law enforcement agencies. Law enforcement agencies clearly mentioned that you started the investigation. Unless you reach a dead end in the investigation or the investigation is complete, it's not advisable to sort of make it public. And any of these sort of things, if anyone wants sort of information on that, we can sort of share. The law enforcement agencies are typically like CID and others that sort of get involved, including the likes at the top. So that are out there. So MHA and others also sort of get involved. And in terms of funds and all that there's a question on. But Venus is the only exchange that doesn't restrict crypto withdrawals. You can seamlessly withdraw crypto from the exchange. बाकी सारे exchanges में crypto withdrawals बंद है, Indian exchanges में predominantly. And वो कभी नहीं रुका है। हम लोग usually बोले कि यार you can withdraw crypto, wallet address, मतलब hardware wallets वगैरह we have sort of always advocated, and have created decentralized products जहाँ पे custody of funds and all would not be sort of out there. Why is between us not a part of Bharat Web3 yet? Any particular reason? So it's around different stances in terms of engaging with the government, and we are trying to sort of create a stance in terms of how we're earlier part of an organization called BSCC, Blockchain and Crypto Assets Committee, और सारे लोग उसके थ्रू करते थे, and that's how we're sort of doing it. in terms of getting someone into this video discussion, that is not possible. We tried sort of doing that, but that does not sort of on Bitbusiness Pay. Karthik Raju, Bitbusiness Pay would be sort of going live this week for all sort of users. The swap sort of interface is already sort of out there, and people would be able to sort of do it. I'll sort of wait for any further questions and all that sort of keep coming. Uh, Someone is asking why are international exchanges not taking KYC in some cases, and Bitbusiness is taking video KYC as well. So we have a fairly stringent flow in terms of how we validate a user, and there are certain questions that we sort of do, that we sort of keep looking at. Ideally speaking, we want to sort of have compliant users on the platform using it for the right sort of activities. A lot of the users are not sort of like using Indian exchanges for the same reason they're using global exchanges, and some of them are not compliant with KYC sort of standards that India sort of set. India is sort of fairly clear on certain KYC standards that you should know the customer really, really well in terms of whether that's the same person using his own account with and for the activity that he wants to sort of do it for. And we basically sort of try and address that around that. So SpongeBob is saying he knows how to sort of add someone into live stream. So if you can sort of guide SpongeBob, we'll sort of do it from there. Um,
We are trying to crypto India. So
that would be able to.
we are trying. Actually, we are messaging in chat itself. If you
Acha.
we can
Okay. Okay. So we've tried messaging Crypto India if we can sort of join it. And from there, beyond a certain limit, above say a certain scale of transactions, we ask for the proof of funds, and this is sort of a fairly common sort of activity that sort of happens across different exchanges that is out there, and waiting if someone is sort of joining on the team. Some people are sort of expressing like the thanks for the platform. As I said, like it's not like easy usually running a crypto exchange in a country like India, precisely why you've sort of seen multiple exchanges falter off over time, and very few sort of standing will continue operating. We have always sort of stood by the users, irrespective of the times, irrespective of how hard it was sort of to operate and sort of work from there. Additionally speaking, I've sort of tried addressing the questions that were sort of raised, and will sort of so, Crypto Hanuman is trying to sort of ask certain questions. Crypto Hanuman, Zakir Suresh goes by the name as an employee from CoinX, and his account was restricted in August 2022. ED had sort of sent a list of certain accounts that they had suspicious activity trail from, and he sort of tried defaming Bedouinus over time. But that's a separate sort of conversation. As a whole, if users have certain questions, influencers have certain questions, YouTubers have certain questions, would be happy to answer. We addressed Bittening, Kashif Bhai, we addressed Aditya, and we'll sort of keep doing that. We've take security fairly seriously and have sort of taken most of the sort of measures around that, and we'll continue beefing that up. And that's something that is sort of out there. For proof of reserve, Arvind, yes. As I mentioned, we are working on using a platform or a protocol called Antani, which basically gives proof of reserves as well as proof of liabilities. And we're working on sort of addressing that. In terms of listing or other requests, we are considering new tokens. If you have any suggestions, we'll sort of actively look into this. Between us pay, yes, we are sort of looking at resolving that and helping users to be able to trade seamlessly again. So that would be sort of out there. So, Addy, if any specific sort of query that you sort of have, ADD by that user is sort of out there, we'll sort of address it in real time and sort of try and address it. You can message one of the admins that is out there, Nitin Bhai or anyone else, and it would be resolved sort of fairly quickly from there. Any new partnerships? Yes, as I said, like we're trying to enable a partnership to seamlessly enable sort of fiat withdraw for most users. So जल्दी से आपको INR withdrawal जब करना है उसके लिए वर्क कर रहा है. कुछ लोग पूछ रहे हैं कि एफडी वगैरह वाला पार्ट कैसे वर्क करता है. दैट यूजुअली वर्क्स विद मार्जिन ट्रेडिंग. मार्जिन ट्रेडिंग में आप टोकन डिपॉजिट कर सकते हो, उसके बेसिस पे एक इंटरेस्ट जनरेट होता है. सो 1 day, 3 days, 7 day, any sort of duration you can sort of do it. And जो भी इंटरेस्ट जनरेटेड होता है बेसिकली रियलाइज इंटरेस्ट से वो एफडी होता है. सम पीपल आर आस्किंग अबाउट बीएनएसडी. बीएनएसडी के ऊपर रिसेंटली काम हुआ है. एसआईपी डिसेंट्रलाइज वाला रिलॉन्च हुआ है, उसमें इंप्रूवमेंट्स हुए हैं. अलग प्रोटोकॉल्स के लिए शुरू हुआ है, पॉलीगॉन चेन के लिए बना है. अभी आर्बिट्रम और चीज़ के लिए भी कुछ चीज़ें हो रही है उस डायरेक्शन में. And we're trying to sort of get tokens on board. So certain tokens we have sort of got on board, जहाँ पे users are rewarded for sort of doing SIPs around that. Some people are saying कि कुछ questions नहीं है, but like I'll try and rewind so that लोगों को समझ जाए. And so moving back, मतलब starting से शुरू करते हैं. Across social media chatter that was sort of happening from morning today, and I explained कि क्या क्या events हुए थे 1st of Feb पे, and what methods we sort of took. We immediately sort of um, took all the exchange functions sort of down, so that we started investigating. पहले pricing वगैरह का issue हुआ था, and then we saw कि so we sort of paused all exchange operations. We also saw कि certain wallet had sort of got compromised, and वहाँ से movement of funds had happened. Movement of funds we are able to sort of trace. We filed a law enforcement request. We also were able to sort of trace it post tornado cash. So that is usually pretty difficult, and we're able to sort of trace it. We're also able to recover part of those funds, and the rest of the investigation was processed. We also found the KYC of the user and other details in conjunction with other exchanges. So that's sort of out there. Then we talked about INR withdrawals. INR withdrawal के ऊपर, as I said, कि वहाँ पे INR withdrawal का bottleneck का reason कुछ और होता है. Bank account का restriction and all is sort of usually the case around that, and that is sort of addressed. I explained कि normally sort of if you sort of look at any incident that happens around any protocol, exchange, DApp or anything, that is typical to कि यार तुम कोई भी नई चीज सीखते हो. If you're sort of learning driving and if you have a brush with some other vehicle, that is akin to that, and your security improves from that. Your infrastructure improves from that, and that has happened with all other sort of exchanges, entities, dApps. Ethereum had a DAO fork. Ethereum had a DAO fork. मतलब वहाँ पे वो funds had sort of gone compromised in 2016. All protocols have had it, Solana, Polygon, and all of that. Exchanges have sort of had it, and that is sort of out there. And we'll sort of start addressing all these sort of things. As I said, with proof of reserve as well, we're वर्किंग ऑन यूजिंग अ प्रोटोकॉल कॉल्ड वेंटानी. वहां से चीजें करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि वो दोनों चीज दिखाता है. दोनों चीज का मतलब ये होता है कि प्रूफ ऑफ रिजर्व्स एंड प्रूफ ऑफ लायबिलिटीज. अभी जितना भी टॉक हुआ था वो प्रूफ ऑफ रिजर्व्स के ऊपर हुआ था, उसके बेसिस पे वो एड्रेस करने की कोशिश की गई थी. आई एम ट्राइंग टू सॉर्ट ऑफ सी इफ Adi has asked anything or if he has been able to join. We briefly touched upon कि इंडिया में क्या होगा. We don't see restriction happening in India. India would still continue operating. India में sort of like crypto would sort of keep working, and the government is sort of keen, even though RBI or someone else might not be. That is sort of going to be there. We've sort of asked Crypto India if we can sort of connect with him and sort of discuss on a live session. But that's more so on it. Any other questions that are out there, any other sort of activities that are sort of out there, would love to sort of address it. Um, you can still sort of deposit and withdraw crypto seamlessly. We've sort of beefed up the security significantly more. This happened 13 plus months back, and we've been sort of consistently operating since then in a very sort of sorted scale and way. And people are able to seamlessly withdraw their funds. Sarachis, people are able to sort of deposit or withdraw crypto, and we are the only exchange that supports crypto withdrawals right now at that sort of scale. So that's there. Anyone has any other questions that are out there for INR withdrawals? I tried sort of clarifying that we were trying to collaborate with the partner to enable seamless INR withdrawals, जहाँ पे INR withdrawals would sort of be able to sort of happen much faster. Now, in terms of police sort of restricting certain accounts and all, usually the flow becomes कि यार you liaise with the police officer, उनसे मिलते हो, and we basically try and explain कि crypto में what works. We are an intermediary, तो buyer और seller आता है, और उसके थ्रू अगर किसी ने किसी को स्कैम करके पैसा लेकर उससे क्रिप्टो बाय कर लिया and it's withdrawn, तो we basically sort of given the relevant details and try and address that. Uh, People are asking how Bitbeans is helping MetaMask. Bitbeans is not. It's a separate entity on ramp जो एक प्रोडक्ट बनाया है, the team that is out there between separate entity बना के प्रोडक्ट बनाया है जहाँ पे seamlessly. So we have always said that it should be easy to get funds to your wallet. We've tried selling hardware wallets since ages, like 4 years. We've sort of created decentralized SIV protocols for that. Just one sec. Venkat. So on-ramp is just for INR. On-ramp might have other currencies that would sort of get enabled, and that would be sort of resolved over time. So that's out there. Any further questions that are out there? I've sort of tried addressing all of them and sort of seamlessly explain facets that we wanted to sort of cover. हिंदी में बोल दो, हिंदी में बोलने की कोशिश की है दोस्त, जितना हिंदी में बोल सकता था sort of explained. आई विड्रॉ के बारे में बोल दिया, आई पीओआर वगैरह के बारे में बोल दिया, ओवरऑल बाकी चीज़ों के बारे में बोल दिया. And people are asking BNS and e-commerce outside India. That's a possibility. We're also we sort of explored it and देखना पड़ेगा वहाँ पे adoption कैसे लाएंगे, मतलब as in we're clear कि इंडिया में adoption कैसे आएगा, because we sort of already had a user base that was sort of out there, and उसके basis पे will sort of FLR airdrop के बारे में लोग पूछ रहे हैं. FLR airdrop had already been given, and वो एक certain cycle है उसके, हर few months I think that airdrop sort of comes, and उसके basis पे new crypto people want listed. New crypto will sort of address list and sort of resolve it. Software wallet is on the same. Software wallet थोड़ा tricky होता है. As long as it is connected to the internet, the risk levels are higher, and usually a hardware wallet sort of serves that purpose. Typically, I would say कि beyond a certain मतलब वैल्यू 5-10 लाख के ऊपर अगर पोर्टफोलियो हो जाता है तब हार्डवेयर वॉलेट मेक्स मोर सेंस, बिकॉज हार्डवेयर वॉलेट्स आर आल्सो कॉस्टलियर, तो एक कॉस्ट स्ट्रक्चर आल्सो नीड्स टू सॉर्ट ऑफ मेक सेंस, and beyond a few lakhs and all, people can seriously sort of consider that. The crypto India, we're already sort of talking. We've replied, our team has sort of replied on Twitter to him, and we're trying to sort of engage with him. Binance acquire कोई plan? Not right now. We had discussions 3-4 years back जब बाकी वजीरिक्स के साथ वो discussion हुआ था. So we'd sort of not decided to sort of go ahead back then. I love on-ramp feature. Thanks a lot. On-ramp, we are focusing on the experience, trying to sort of get it going, and trying to help crypto ecosystem get further. मतलब जैसे on ramp अगर आप सोचोगे Bitbeans के लिए on ramp वैसे सेंस में कोई competitor सोचेगा क्या, it's competing product for an exchange, right? But our goal is कि can we enable crypto adoption, right? If at the end of it crypto adoption अगर enable करते हैं तो the ecosystem grows from here, and उसी लिए on ramp big team sort of worked and sort of got it going. Our funds sort of safe. Yes, your funds are safe. In any case, like हमने कभी crypto withdrawals restrict नहीं किया. Crypto withdrawals have always remained open for people, and people would be able to sort of seamlessly able to withdraw any token that is out there. ऑन रैम्प में एक फीडबैक और नेटवर्क फी थोड़ा फंक्शन मतलब ब्लॉकचेन मूवमेंट का भी होता है राइट नाउ पॉलीगॉन और इथेरियम वगैरह पे ज़्यादा एक्टिविटी हो रही है तो फीस ज़्यादा है बट विल सॉर्ट ऑफ फिगर आउट हाउ टू ऑप्टिमाइज इट फर्दर and with respect to future of what we are sort of trying to do matlab we'll keep operating and it's not sort of something that we're going to sort of stop we're going to work on enabling sort of people to get access to web3 and it's not just that ki matlab it's a small time sort of exercise. We want to do it sort of for the longer term. इसलिए कितना भी difficult हुआ, we kept operating. मतलब it was easy for us to sort of stop or shut down even before this, but we sort of like decided that कि यार हम लोग हमेशा operate करते रहेंगे और users को serve करेंगे as long as we can do. On-ramp is doing really well. I love the features. Very good deposit and withdrawals. So Chinadu, thank you. We'll sort of work on that. And that's it. I think we'll try and sort of take. Mm, so I think we sort of figured out things. जो भी लोगों के concerns थे we're trying to sort of sync up with any of those YouTubers that were out there who had raised questions. We tried answering all of them. And we've been sort of clear on our sort of stance around this. Uh, so we're trying to sort of figure out if we can get some of them on board. बिटबीनस के एफडी के बारे में लोग क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं बिटबीनस की एफडी मार्जिन ट्रेडिंग से जनरेट होती है मार्जिन ट्रेडिंग में यूजर कैन बेसिकली lend or borrow assets उसमें whatever interest gets generated we charge a 15% fee around that वो 15% के बेसिस पे जितना इंटरेस्ट जनरेट हुआ है वो एफडी में gets computed and people can sort of subscribe to any of the FDs that are out there. Clear है I think few people have liked the on-ramp .money product the team has built. ये MetaMask के साथ लाइव हुआ है on-ramp.money में आप डिपॉजिट या विड्रॉ कर सकते हो INR से क्रिप्टो और क्रिप्टो से INR और सीमलेसली वो कर पा सकते हो so that's out there.
What the details? Telegram idea.
StreamYard, you sort of said. StreamYard. Let's figure out how to sort of put to StreamYard and we'll sort of. So, so I was asking FD and margin trading don't have common coins. Yes, there are common coins. मतलब ETH, USDT, BNB, ये सब common sort of coins are sort of out there. For INR withdraw, as I explained कि हम लोग उस पे कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि यार वो instantly हो पाए and that would be able to sort of like quickly process across from there. Again, something that I've sort of mentioned a few times. प्रूफ ऑफ रिजर्व्स के बारे में बोला मैं अंटानी करके एक प्रोटोकॉल है जिसमें दोनों चीज कंप्यूट होने का गुंजाइश है, and we're sort of working on that. क्या उसके through if we can sort of do it, that would sort of work. Any other questions, do reach out, and we'll be more than happy to sort of address them. फंड सारे चीज़ों पे आता है। फंड एक 1.5 महीने पहले बनान्स पे आया था। फंड उसके पहले अलग अलग एक्सचेंज crypto.com, KuCoin, OKX, गेट काफ़ी सारों पे आ चुका है। एंड दैट्स नॉट अनकॉमन, जो कि आते रहता है अलग अलग सॉर्ट ऑफ चीज़ों पे। एंड we sort of handled it multiple times over and over again. Our commitment remains pretty clear. We'll want to sort of serve the users in the best possible sort of ways that are out there. And if it rate, but INR withdrawals also. So INR withdrawals के लिए you can use P2P right now. P2P से directly the money you can sort of withdraw in a quicker sort of fashion. Right now, that is a solution that is sort of out there. So that's it. All sort of activities that I think activities or points of discussion I've tried covering. Any other that comes up, will be more than happy to sort of cover up. Anyone would be sort of even keen कि यार अगर Zach XPT or any of those sort of folks want to sort of come on board in a stream or something, would be willing to sort of cover that. Thanks a lot. पीडीएस से टीडीएस कैसे देंगे, वो वी हैंडल इट, वी बेसिकली पे टीडीएस ऑन टॉप ऑफ दैट. सो वी हैव फिगर्ड आउट अ सॉल्यूशन अराउंड दैट, एंड मतलब दैट्स कॉमन, मतलब उसके बेसिस पे होता है. Thanks for answering questions. I'll keep answering. And at the end of the day, the goal is that Web3 in India becomes a reality. People are able to seamlessly onboard onto Web3 and sort of do any activity or transactions for them. Thanks a lot. I hope I was able to answer most of the questions. We'll try and do this again and try and address any other questions that are out there and take it further from there. Thanks.